Hello children. Today we are going to read about the story The Necklace. But before we read the chapter, let's know something about the author. Guy de Maupassant was a French writer remembered as a master of the short story form and as a representative of the naturalist school of writers. He wrote some 300 short stories, 6 novels, 3 travel books and 1 volume of verse. So let's read the story now. Matilda Loisel was a pretty young lady who was born into a middle-class family who worked as clerks. Her family did not have any means to arrange dowry for her marriage. She did not have any other means by which she could befriend a rich man to be loved or married to her. So, due to these circumstances, she had to marry a clerk in the office of the Board of Education, and because of this, she was unhappy. She used to think that destiny was unfair to her and that she deserved much better than what she had got. She used to get angry and was tortured by the condition of her apartment. The dirty walls and the torn furniture used to irritate her. She used to think about elegant dinners being served in marvelous dishes when her husband used to praise the homemade food served in a simple dish. She did not have any fancy jewels or good dresses. She had a school friend whom she did not like to meet as she was very rich. After meeting her, she used to cry for days together, looking at the condition of her life. One day, her husband came back home from work in a happy mood, holding an envelope in his hand. He informed her that the envelope was for her and asked her to open it. She quickly pulled out the printed card as she was excited to know what it was about. It was an invitation from the minister. The couple had been invited to a dinner party at the house of the Minister of Public Instruction. She was supposed to be delighted, as Mr. Loisel expected, but she got really angry and threw the card while murmuring something. She asked her husband, what did he want her to do with the card? He replied that he had thought that she would be happy as she never went out, and this was a rare occasion to which not many employees were invited. He also told her that she would be meeting a lot of people from his office there. Matilda asked him what could she wear to such a grand party. He stammered as he had not thought of that. He first asked her to wear the dress that she wore when they went out for movies, but then as she was weeping, he asked her about the matter. She wiped her tears from her wet cheeks and replied calmly that she could not be a part of such a grand affair and that he should give away the card to some other colleague whose wife was better than her. He felt bad for his wife as he saw her crying and asked her the cost of a simple dress that could be worn by her on other occasions as well. She thought of an amount that would neither be refused by him nor scare the poor clerk. Then she said that she would be able to manage a dress in 400 francs. Mr. Loisel was reluctant as he had saved only that much money to buy a gun for himself so that he could join the hunting parties next summer along with his friends. He told his wife that he would give her the money and asked her to buy a good dress. The day was approaching and Matilda was still not fine. Even though her dress was almost ready, one day her husband asked her again that why had she been acting strangely for the past few days. Matilda replied that although she had the dress, she did not have any kind of jewelry or anything else to make herself look even more attractive. She said that without any jewelry, she would look like a poor person in such a big party. She again said that she would rather prefer not going to the party. To this, her husband replied that she could wear some natural flowers over the dress as they looked really nice and attractive. She replied that she could not, as it looked really cheap in a party of rich people. Then her husband suggested that she could go to her friend, Madame Forestier, and ask her to lend some jewelry. Matilda became happy as she heard the idea. She went to Madame Forestier's house the next day and said that she was stressed about the party and the jewelry. Madame Forestier went to her closet and brought out her jewel box. Madame Forestier asked her to choose for herself whatever she wanted. She first saw some bracelets, then some pearl collars, and then a Venetian cross of gold and jewels. She was not able to decide what to take and what to leave. So she asked Madame Forestier if she has anything else that she could wear? To this, Madame Forestier replied that she could herself take a look and choose something suitable. She then saw a superb diamond necklace kept in a black satin box. She took it out with her trembling hands and wore it. She was overjoyed with the necklace as it looked very beautiful. She asked her friend if she could lend her the diamond necklace. Madame Forestier consented to it. Matilda hugged her friend with affection and left her for house. The day of the party arrived, and Madame Loisel was appreciated as she was the prettiest, most elegant and gracious of all. She was very happy and full of joy as all the men were noticing her. She was full of enthusiasm and pleasure as she was very happy with all the attention she had gained. The couple left the party at 4 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Loisel had already slept at 12 o'clock in one of the halls, with 3 other men whose wives were also enjoying the party. Mr. Loisel threw the wrap around her shoulders as they were about to leave. The elegance of the party dress was getting ruined by the wrap, as it was not that pretty. She wanted to leave the party quickly because she did not want the rich ladies who had wrapped themselves in rich furs to see her in a cheap wrap. This was because she had portrayed herself as a rich lady by wearing the new dress and the diamond necklace. Mr. Loisel asked her to wait as he was calling a cab, but she was in a hurry and quickly went down the stairs. She did not want to be noticed. As they got on the street, they were looking for a carriage which could take them home but could not find one. Then they saw a coachman at a distance and started calling him. The coachman did not stop. They kept walking together towards the river and finally found a carriage, the kind one finds in Paris at dusk time. The carriage took them to their home and they both went up. By then they were extremely tired. The enthusiasm and fun for Madame Loisel had ended by then. Mr. Loisel also remembered that he had to reach his office by 10 in the morning, as she stood in front of the mirror and removed the wrap to see herself one last time in the beautiful dress and necklace. She cried because the necklace was missing. It was not on her neck. Mr. Loisel was already half undressed by then and was almost ready to go to sleep when he asked her the reason for shouting. She turned towards him and said Madame Forestier's necklace was missing and that it might have fallen somewhere. They searched it in the folds of the dresses, the cloak and in the pockets but could not find it. Mr. Loisel then asked her if she remembered having it on while they were leaving the minister's house. Madame Loisel said that she remembered having it on as she had felt it while leaving the house of the minister. Mr. Loisel said that if it would have fallen on the street, then they would have heard the sound of it falling, but they did not hear anything, which meant that it must have fallen in the cab. To this, she replied that it could be possible that what he said was right and asked him if he noted down the number of the carriage. Both of them had not seen the number of the carriage. They were let down by what had just happened, and Mr. Loisel dressed up again to go and look on the tracks where they were walking. She remained at home wearing her evening gown, whereas her husband went out in search of the necklace. Mr. Loisel returned at around 7 in the morning and announced that he had found nothing. He also went to the police and cab offices asking about it and gave an advertisement about it in the newspaper, offering a reward for whoever returned it. Madame Loisel waited for her husband the whole day, and when he returned, he announced that he had not been able to find the necklace. Mr. Loisel told his wife to write to Madame Forestier that they had given the necklace for repairing as the hook of the necklace had broken. After looking for it for almost a week, they decided to buy another necklace for Madame Forestier as they were not able to find the original one. Then they started looking for a necklace similar to the one they had lost and found one in a shop. The price for the necklace was 36,000 francs with a discount of 4,000 francs. Mr. Loisel had about 18,000 francs which were given to him by his father before his death. He borrowed the rest of the money from different money lenders. He then bought the new necklace from the shop by paying the full amount. When Madame Loisel took the necklace to her friend told her that she should have returned it earlier as she too needed it. Her friend did not even open and check the necklace as Madame Loisel had expected. Madame Loisel was worried about what would happen if a friend come to know about the replacement of the necklace. She could blame her to be a thief. Madame Loisel realized how horrible life could become. She knew that they would have to pay the loan that they had taken for the necklace at any cost, so they started to reduce their expenses and save more. They removed the maid from her job, changed their house, and rented rooms on the roof of a building. Now she had to learn the tiring and boring work of kitchen, like washing dishes and cooking food. She would wash clothes and hang them on the line to dry. She used to go down to the street each morning to get water. With the little money that she had, she used to dress like ordinary people and go to the grocery shop, the butcher shop, and the fruit shop with a basket to buy things of daily use. The husband was also in a miserable condition, as he used to work extra time in the evenings and often did copying work at night for a small amount of 5 sous a page. They did this for 10 years and paid back their debt within this period. By this time, Madame Loisel had become a hard-working woman of the poor household. She had started looking old with her hair badly kept, hands red, and she used to speak in a loud voice. Many times, to feel good when her husband used to go to work, she would sit next to the window and think about the party at the minister's house. She used to feel good about how beautiful and elegant she looked that day. She would imagine about how her life would be if she would not have lost the necklace. She used to think about how unpredictable life could be and how a small step could change a person's life. One day she was relieving herself of the stress of the week and enjoying a walk along the Champs-Élysées when she suddenly saw a lady walking with a child. The young, pretty and attractive lady was Madame Forestier. Madame Loisel started thinking about whether she should talk to her or not. She decided that as she had given her the necklace back and paid back all the debts, there was no reason for her not to talk to her. Madame Loisel went to her and said, "Good morning, Jane." Madame Forestier was confused as she could not recognize the person but thought that she was familiar because only her close friends used to call her by that name. She told her that she might have got the wrong person and that she might be looking for someone else. But Madame Loisel introduced herself to her old friend Jane. Forestier was shocked to see her in such a poor and changed look. She then replied that she did have some hard days since they last met. She said that life had been miserable and it was all because of Madame Forestier. Then Madame Forestier asked how was she responsible for her bad days, to which Mathilde replied that she had lost Forestier's necklace. Madame Forestier replied that it was not possible because she had returned it to her. Mathilde said that they had bought a similar necklace and they had been paying the debt for the last 10 years. She also said that they were not that rich to afford such an expensive necklace. Mathilde added that their debt was now over and that she was satisfied with whatever she had. Jane was surprised and asked Mathilde if she bought a diamond necklace just to replace her lost necklace, to which she replied, "Yes." Madame Forestier was touched. While holding her in her arms, she said that the necklace which she had borrowed from Madame Forestier was a fake necklace and that it was not worth more than 500 francs. So, children, the theme of this short story, the necklace, is to be happy with who you are and what you have. The ironic situation is the source of her joy, the necklace, which becomes her downfall when she loses it and has to work the next 10 years of her life to replace it. She not only loses her middle income status but falls into poverty and spends the rest of her life suffering for her dreams. The symbolism of the necklace is social acceptance into a world where she longs to be but does not belong. The story teaches us not to be greedy. Mathilde Loisel's overwhelming desire to live a life of luxury blinds her to the comforts she already had and ultimately leads to her losing that wealth and status she initially has. It also talks about beauty and vanity. While Mathilde's beauty allows her a fleeting moment of social success at the ball, she has lost both beauty and vanity by the end of the story. The ending of The Necklace is an example of irony. Mathilde spends years working to pay back the debt she incurred to replace the necklace, only to find out too late that it was fake. Mathilde Loisel's greatest flaw is her materialistic dissatisfaction. As a beautiful young woman in her prime, she believes She deserves more than a middle class life. It is ultimately this desire for wealth and status that destroys her. For Matilde, the necklace is a symbol of social status. In the end, however, the necklace becomes symbolic of Matilda's downfall and the emptiness of her dreams of wealth. So I hope you've understood the story and you've learned the lesson. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you so much.